Hey guys, so today we're going to be making beer bread. This is one of my easy to follow and very versatile recipes. It is really great as just a snack or an accompaniment to a barbecue or even just a side. It's delicious. So there are quite a few ingredients that you need, but basically staple pantry ingredients. So I'm going to take you through how I make it. The most exciting part though for me today is that I managed to harvest a whole bunch of fresh herbs from the garden. So they're not part of my standard recipe that I'll share with you, but we've got some garlic chives, some basil, rosemary, and I've got some fresh oregano. So very excited about that because it just honestly enhances the flavor. The other extra ingredient that I will be adding today, just for a bit of a kick, is some sliced jalapenos. Now, I am using store-bought only because ours are still busy growing, so that is the only reason for that. This recipe is very easy, and as I said, very versatile. You can add anything you really want to. That is the beauty of it. So we're just going to get started. I have preheated the oven to 180 degrees Celsius and already greased my loaf tin. So the first thing you are going to need is 3 cups of flour. I'm just using standard regular cake flour or wheat flour. You probably could switch it up for whole wheat. That's totally up to you and obviously personal preference. This is a half cup, so I'm obviously going to add 6. Right, then you need 3 teaspoons of baking powder. You need 1 teaspoon of salt. You then need 3 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just using raw sugar. You can use everyday white granulated sugar as well. It's totally up to you. One tablespoon of garlic, again using store-bought, just as we have not grown any garlic this season yet. This is a bit of an optional ingredient. If you are not a garlic fan, by all means leave it out. The recipe then calls for 4 tablespoons of melted butter. To save time, I've already gone in and melted it just in the microwave. It was about 56 grams, if you are wondering. So now, apart from adding a can of beer, that is your standard recipe. But as I said, I'm going to embellish it a little bit and add in my fresh herbs from the garden, and then those jalapenos, I'm going to actually put them on top as opposed to in the bread because they are quite potent. And I like to, just for something a bit different, add in smoked paprika. So there's no actual measurement. It's probably about a teaspoon. I just give it a good old shake, and then when I feel it's enough, then yep, I stop. The only other thing I like to do is also add in some grated cheese. I do like to add it into the actual batter and then just a light sprinkling on top. Again, honestly, this is a personal preference. I just love cheese. So those are the few extras. So first up is just my garlic chives. So now I could have gone in a little less on the actual crushed garlic, but to be honest, we are big garlic fans and the garlic in the chives is actually quite mild, so I don't really mind them as such. Basil, purely for the fact that I've got so much basil that I don't even know what to do with it. My one, it's a sweet basil, actually has a bit of a licorice scent and taste. So it definitely adds an interesting flavor. As you can tell, no airs and graces. I just chop. Then we've got the fresh oregano. I like to chop this up fine as I feel it releases more of the flavor that I'm looking for, as opposed to just putting in the leaves whole. I can't give you exact amounts as I just honestly picked a fresh bunch now this afternoon. So yeah, it's just personal preference and taste. And then I'm just going to add in a few rosemary slices. Bits. Okay, now that the herbs are in, I'm just going to go in and add that dash of, well, a good dash of that smoked paprika. Next up we have cheese. I don't really have an exact measurement. I just do a bit of a handful. So I would say it's probably, if you're looking for an exact measurement, go with about ½ a cup, and that should do you well. I'm going to keep the bag aside because I am going to put a little bit on top as well. Now this is the fun bit. You need to add a can of beer. Now I have baked it before with fridge cold beer as well as room temperature. Today I'm using room temperature. Look, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it makes a big difference or not. I don't quite know the full science behind a beer bread. If anyone knows, please let me know. But basically, the type of beer that you choose is one that you need to obviously enjoy. I like to go for a mid-strength, sort of low bitterness, mild beer because I don't want it to overpower the dish. I'm not particularly keen on craft beers, but I would imagine that would make a really nice beer bread because they have those fruity sort of flavors. So the beer that I'm using today is just Great Northern. I've always enjoyed this beer. A lot of controversy around it. But now that we are in Queensland, it's actually brewed here, so I guess a little bit more acceptable to be drinking it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in my can of beer and then just mix everything together until fully incorporated. You do kind of need the whole can, so I wouldn't be having a sip or two as this is providing the yeast and flavor that we do need. So that's it for the actual bread itself. I'm just going to go ahead and mix it all together, and honestly that's it. That's all it takes. Super easy. And it already smells incredible. So I would highly recommend, if you've got some fresh herbs or even just dried herbs, do add some of those that you enjoy because it definitely adds to the flavor. Quite a thick dough or thick consistency, so you do need to spread it out just a little bit, but that's the bread done. If this is where you wanted to stop, you absolutely could, but as I mentioned, I'm just going to sprinkle a tiny bit of cheese on top just for a bit of extra flavor, and then a few of those jalapeno slices. These are quite spicy, so I think I'll stop there. So that's it. I mean, that was really quick. So very easy, especially if it's a last minute decision that you need to make for that barbecue or that side accompaniment to a meal. I'm actually having this as my lunch tomorrow. So yeah, I'm gonna pop it in, and as I mentioned, I've already preheated the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, and you want to bake it for about 40 to 45 minutes. So I'll be back once it's ready and show you what it looks like. And there you have it, our beer bread is complete. It smells amazing. I'm just going to let that rest in the pan for a few minutes while it cools down, and then I'll transfer it onto a wire rack and let it completely cool. Now, one of the best ways to enjoy it is warm with some nice butter, but as I say, it could be a snack, a side accompaniment, or like I'm going to tomorrow for lunch. Right, I think that's where I'll leave you today. Do let me know if you try the recipe and what other ingredients you might add to make yours a bit more unique.